Hundreds of people gathered at the Rock Island Arsenal to remember everyone who lost their lives in the attack and the war on terror since. KWQC's Danielle McCarthy shows us what the memorial meant to everyone there.
At the center of Thursday's Memorial Walk on Arsenal Island is the American flag.
It's important that they remember those flags represent people. I mean, this is not just some day where some buildings collapse. These are American people that died for their country.
Hundreds of soldiers and civilians carried bundles of those flags, each one representing a life lost on this day 13 years ago and in the war on terror since. For some at the memorial, the symbolism is deeply personal.
They were good guys, every one of them, believed in what we were doing, knew what we were doing was right.
As the walkers return and begin planting the flags in a field, Sergeant Dave Wirtz is thinking of his 5 friends who were killed while they were serving in Iraq together in 2004 and 2005.
They're missed greatly. You know, it's one of the things that we sign up to do. We know signing up that there's a chance that we could go somewhere and not come back.
For all those fallen heroes, this tribute now stands in the field next to the Twin Towers Memorial. The flags forming towers of their own, too. In all, there are 9,777 flags planted here near the Twin Towers Memorial at the Rock Island Arsenal. Soldiers and civilians alike say when they think about what each one represents, it's overwhelming.
It actually makes me think of each person that lost their life.
And those flags are a symbol of all the people that went to work one day thinking nothing was going to happen and never came home that night.
In the memorial's 5th year, those gathered at the Arsenal say it's just as significant as ever. A reminder to all those lost they are not alone and will never be forgotten. On Arsenal Island, Danielle McCarthy, KWQC TV6 News.
Then this afternoon, community members and leaders from the Arsenal gathered for a memorial service, remembering those who lost their lives during the attacks 13 years ago. A wreath ceremony and the playing of taps serving as a somber reminder of that day. Officials say it's important to remember what happened on that day and how we came together as a nation because of it.
Talk to any mom in today's fast-paced digital world, and she'll tell you there just aren't enough hours in the day to keep up with it all.
So reason many say it is the hardest job in the world, and tonight we meet a couple of local moms who say the job got so hard they turned to medication for help.
Now that's a decision that some say they're embarrassed about or feel guilty over. But as we begin our series, Moms Under Pressure, KWQC's Danielle McCarthy shows us how the right kind of help makes a difference.
As moms everywhere begin their days, the daily morning drop-off is just another item they can check off a seemingly never
There's homework.
ending
There's bath times.
to-do list.
There's spending one-on-one time with them, making sure that, you know, they're taken care of. There's dinner. There's everything involved in that. Bedtimes.
We're fast-paced. We've got the media. We've got cell phones. We've got, we've got so much now. And it's like, we expect moms to be able to do all of those things really well.
These Quad City moms ask we don't show their faces as they share their struggles in order to protect their family's privacy. But you don't need to know their faces to know who they are, because moms like these are everywhere. A recent Today Show survey shows 7,000 moms rated their stress levels at an average 8.5 out of 10. But for many of those women, what they feel is more than stress. It's anxiety and depression. And they're turning to their medicine cabinets to find help.
Just helps to calm me down, you know, stabilize my mood, be a little bit more patient, think things through.
For this mom, she says the all-natural medication she got from her chiropractor has made her an all-around better mom.
I feel calmer. She makes the children calmer. It makes me more patient.
And for the other, a prescription for an antidepressant she got from a doctor has made the difference between night and day.
In my head, I feel so much calmer, happier.
While the effects have been positive, the decisions these moms made weren't easy, especially with the stigma surrounding mental health and the medication people take for it.
I should be able to fix it on my own. I think that's a big part of it.
Clinical director at Vera French, Chris McCormick-Priest, says unfortunately that sense of guilt is common in situations like this.
There are still a significant number of people who believe if you just worked harder and if you ignored your symptoms, you'd be fine.
That said, McCormick Priest points out medication is not for everyone, saying there are other coping mechanisms to try first, like finding supportive people. Even an online support network can help, like the Quad City Moms blog.
Just knowing you're not alone. You're not the only one that's experiencing this difficulty. That becomes really, really important.
And I think the more that people talk about it and realize that they're not alone and that there are options out there and there are other people that are feeling the same way, I think it's great.
Knowing you're not alone and knowing it's okay to get help, they're messages these moms hope to drive home in today's fast-paced society. Danielle McCarthy, KWQC, TV6 News.
We have more information and resources for stress management, depression, and anxiety. Find the story on kwqc.com.
Tonight in a special report, Moms Under Pressure, a problem experts say is serious and underrecognized. Moms abusing alcohol as they try to cope with the stress of parenting.
It's a problem that takes a lot of courage to admit, but as KWQC's Danielle McCarthy explains, that one step can make all the difference.
In such a calm and serene setting, the stories heard behind the walls of the Abbey in Bettendorf are oftentimes anything but.
On the surface, I'm a very outgoing person, possibly even well respected in the community. And little did people know that there was drinking going on behind closed doors.
Before coming to the Addiction Treatment Center for help, the mom in our interview, who wants to be anonymous, was part of an estimated 5.3 million women in the U.S. whose drinking actually puts their well-being in jeopardy. Experts at the Abbey say there are a number of factors that can lead to problem drinking in mothers, like stress or going through major life changes, as some moms, like ours here, choose to cut their climb up the career ladder short to stay home with their kids.
For me personally, it wasn't so much the stress, but it was the lack of an adult interaction. Play dates are great, but they're not the same as having a career. You really lose your identity when you become a mom.
To fill the void, this mom turned to alcohol to cope, eventually drinking so much, she says, she can't even put a number on the amount. Then after months of the problem came a turning point.
Somehow, some way, something happened on a Sunday morning and I surrendered and told my husband, and I'll never forget it, and told him I needed help. And it felt like 1,000 pounds had been lifted off of me.
Not long after, the couple turned to the Abbey to begin the recovery process. It's a decision the staff here says takes great courage.
We know it's a huge step for people to do this, and it's a scary one.
Finding the courage is huge. I think it's important for women to recognize that this is common.
As for how common, the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism says 60% of American women drink, and of those women, 13% drink excessively. For women, excessive drinking is defined as having 8 or more drinks a week. In terms of wine, that measures out to be about a bottle and a half. The days of drinking like that are done for the mom in our story. After undergoing treatment at the Abbey, attending meetings, going to counseling sessions, and learning how to cope with life, she says she's done a complete 180.
I feel like I live one day at a time right now, and that's how I have to live right now. Is I'm going to enjoy today and not worry about next week or in 2 months.
Now, in sharing her story, she hopes to let others struggling in secret know they're not alone.
Just recognizing that they're not alone, there's nothing wrong with them, this isn't bad, they just need some help.
Most of our clients will say that, I've hidden this for so long, it just feels so good to get it out on the table and somebody else gets it.
Experts say if you wonder whether you have a drinking problem, there's a chance you do. They also say help is always just a phone call away. In Bettendorf, Danielle McCarthy, KWQC, TV6 News.
If you or someone you know might have a drinking problem, we have links to helpful resources on our website, kwqc.com.
All right, here's the marriage application, so look and make sure I typed everything correct.
When the Rock Island County Clerk's office opened this morning, John Kensel and Larry Griffin of Rock Island made sure they were the very first ones in line.
Just because we wanted to.
Well, we were the first to get
Because we were the first to get a civil union.
So we thought we might go ahead and see if we can be the first to get the conversion.
Of the more than 50 couples in Rock Island County who have a civil union, Kensel and Griffin were the first to get one in 2011. Now, after 35 years together and just a few strokes of a keyboard, they achieved a new first.
There's your keepsake that you can replace for your civil union. It is.
It's a moment both the couple and Rock Island County Clerk Karen Kinney thought they'd never see.
No, I didn't, and I'm honored to be a part of it today.
To celebrate the occasion, Kinney presented the couple with a bouquet.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I think it meant a lot to them. As they said, they've been together 35 years.
Now, as the couple looks to the years that are still to come, they say they hope to see a time when couples in all states will be able to have the same privilege they can now enjoy.
It's a big step. It's the final step. The civil union was a step in the right direction. This is the end. This is the direction.
In Rock Island, Danielle McCarthy, KWQC, TV6 News.